In this video, we are going to discuss segmentation. Okay, well, what is it? Well, segmentation is the most important first step to any analysis in Google Analytics. A sort of general definition of segments is it's filtered data. So, using filters, it's a way for you to get a specific portion of your data and then view that data across different reports. Let me explain what I mean. Looking at a large set of data is not always useful. Remember, in previous videos, we looked at sessions in the context of a location report. Well, you may also remember that we changed the dimensions from country to city. And what that did was organize that data by country and city, so we could see total sessions and other metrics by country and city. Well, segments are a bit similar to this. Like I said, it's not always useful to look at data in big chunks. What segments allows us to do is slice our data into smaller nuggets using filters that we set up. As I mentioned, location is a logical example of when segments are very useful. We can break our data down by region and then look at that data in different reports. Google allows us to save segments too, so we can quickly access the segment and view the reports that are relevant to our business with that segment applied. Let's look at some examples in Google Analytics. So here we are back in the location report. You should all be pretty familiar with this by now, but I like to use location reports because it works very well as a model, particularly when using segments. So in the Explorer view, when we scroll down, we can see that we have our list of countries because countries is the primary dimension selected. What we can do from here is get more specific by drilling down into a country. So I'll select the United States. And the United States is a segment of the total data. Then we can drill down even further into a state. Likewise, states are a segment of US data. So I'll choose New Hampshire. And then Google allows us to drill down even further. I'll select a city, Dover. And then that's it. Dover is the most specific segment that we can hit, which is pretty good. We got all the way down to the city. This is filtered data. Dover is a small segment of the total data. And with this table view, we can see sessions, new sessions, bounce rate, etc. Now, I'm going to scroll back to the top so you can see the path to this segment. You can see here at the top is the breadcrumb just below the location report header, showing us that we've drilled down all the way through country, region to city. And also, if we select the down arrow next to Dover, Google gives us the option of segmenting our data by a different city in New Hampshire that also has sessions. So we could choose Exeter or any of the others if we wish. There are also drop-downs next to each of the segment options if we would like to change our segmentation at a higher level. And if we want to go back at any point, just select the segment blue link. If we click on the United States, we'll return to that segment. So I'll go back to country, United States. As we discussed earlier, as we change segments, the data in the table view will change to reflect it. But let's say you want to carry this data around Google Analytics, so we can see it expressed in different reports. For instance, say we wanted to carry it over into the new versus returning users report under behavior, so we can see that report as it pertains to users in the United States. Or an even deeper segment. To do that, we need to create a segment. And here's how we do it. Up at the top of the report view is a box labeled Add Segment, and I'll select it. The first thing that pops up is a list of segments that we've previously used. And this is great if we're always looking at a particular segment, we can actually save our most important segments right here. But first, to create a new one, click in the New Segment red box. And the first thing we need to do is give the new segment a name. I'd like to have a segment view of all New Hampshire traffic, so I'll call it New Hampshire Traffic. And the first options come up in the Demographics tab. If we wanted to segment by age, gender, language, and more, we could do that in this tab. The tabs are located on the left-hand side, and we can toggle between them. There are technology options, behavior options, and more. But I'll return to the Demographics tab because we'll be looking at location segment. This is where we'll be creating our filters. So let's add in a filter. And I'll choose under location, country in the continent dropdown. then contains, then United States. We could then search for it in the search bar, or sometimes Google knows what we're most likely looking for based on our location and our data. Now, you may have noticed on the right-hand side, Google is going to give us a summary of the users included with the filter I added. And in this case, it's telling me 56% of the visitors are from the US. Below that summary, Google will also summarize the filters we added to achieve the summary numbers. So you can see demographics bolded because we're in the demographics tab. And then under that, country contains United States. Now, just in case, I want to tell you that the contains may not be specific enough. In this case, we're looking for visitors only in the US, so let's change contains to exact match. And this didn't change anything, but exact match is really what we're looking for. Earlier, we did discuss that I want to find traffic information for New Hampshire. So to do that, we select the country dropdown and choose regions instead. And we'll keep exactly matches and then write New Hampshire in the box. And now we can see New Hampshire makes up a little over 3% of my traffic. Then we can save our segment at the top of the page. And you can see in the top left corner, the segment that we're viewing is New Hampshire traffic. If at any time we'd like to edit, delete, copy, or share the segment, we can do so from the dropdown. Now that we have this segment created, available, and currently in view, let's move to a different report to see what that looks like. I'll choose New versus Returning. The New Hampshire traffic segment is still active, and of that, if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see how many are returning visitors and how many are new visitors. And again, this is specific to the segment that we created. We can turn off the segment at any time by choosing the drop-down next to the segment. And if we do that, you see that all sessions is back showing. This is giving us all of the data. And if we scroll down, we can see all of the sessions data within the time frame that we created, and of them, how many are new visitors and how many of them are returning visitors. The point of this video is for you to begin to think about how to filter your data so it provides the most relevant information for you and your business. And as you go from report to report, think about if you would get more relevant information if you filtered the data into more specific segments.